Oh snap! Finally a good game. Dragon Fighter was developed by Natsume, who are truly the unsung heroes of the NES library, with titles like Shatterhand, Shadow of the Ninja, S.C.A.T, Abadox, and the almighty Power Blade 1 and 2. Seriously, if you made your way through all the games Nintendo, Konami, Capcom, and Taito released, you'll find that the Natsume games are all the hidden gems you were missing. Except for Dungeon Magic, a first-person 3D RPG, which I almost reviewed in this week's edition, but I just couldn't get far enough into it to say anything about it one way or another. P.S. It sucks. Anyway, when you start Dragon Fighter, you may be wondering, hey, why is my human sprite so comically small, but the screen is so huge? Aww. He's wearing a little dragon hat. Well, that's because this game is half platforming action and half shoot 'em up. Once you murk enough bears and snowflakes, you can transform into a flying dragon, at which point the screen starts automatically scrolling a la Gradius or other shooters, and your character can access all the areas of the level. It's a super cool mechanic, seen in other games like Monster Party, but executed so much more smoothly here. Unfortunately, like Monster Party, you can only stay in dragon form for a limited time, so you need to be strategic about when you switch between the two forms. It's a really fun gameplay mechanic, done especially well here. The controls are responsive, the music is really jammin', and the gameplay is pretty varied. Aside from the dragon switch, you can also charge up an attack by holding B, sort of like the Mega Buster in Mega Man 4 and beyond. What's really cool is that as you pick up different colored suits, not only does your dude get new attacks, but your dragon does too. Neat! It's not exactly Gunstar Heroes levels of customization or anything, but it's pretty fun trying out the various colors and figuring out which works best on which enemies or bosses. The tiny sprites are well designed, if underwhelming in terms of size, but the designers more than make up for this with these rad backgrounds. Check out these cool gleaming ice crystals, or these amazing corded blue vines that sort of look like the dreadlocks from the movie Avatar. And I can't forget the ridiculous multi-limbed skeleton that appears periodically in the background of Stage 5. This would have scared my fragile little mind as a kid. Jesus! I keep thinking it's going to pop out and fight me, if not, enter my dreams and kill me. But instead, the level boss is this goofy assemblage of parts. It's kind of funny. Speaking of boss fights, they're probably the highlights of the game, with each end boss incorporating a unique attack strategy coupled with the customary weak spot. Like this turtle spider whose vulnerable head only appears after you successfully dodge this barrage of bullets, or the magnet boss who can only damage you after you've crushed all his robo-babies, and then he has to descend to collect them again. You heartless monster. My only complaint with Dragon Fighter is that, with the exception of the final stage, each level can be accomplished without ever changing into the dragon. They are, of course, more difficult, but not impossible. How cool would it be if there were sections where you could only fly as the dragon, or had to walk around as the man like in Blaster Master where you have to get out of the vehicle? Like right here where the ceiling opens up. For a split second I hoped if I flew up there, I'd enter a secret part of the level, only instead to bump my scaly head on the invisible nothingness. Seriously, some extra level design would take this from being a hardly known title to at least a revered hidden gem. Did you know there were 8 official NES games with titles that begin with dragon, and 10 more with the word dragon somewhere in the title? There must have been some research done that said, hey, just slap the word dragon on there somewhere, kids will eat it up! Despite, or perhaps because of its incredibly generic title, Dragon Fighter is one of the rarest NES games in existence, commonly going for $200 to $300. I tried to verify where it places in the overall value rareness category, but it was much harder than I thought, even with something like price charting. Generally, I'd place it in the not sought after but very expensive realm, occupied by other weirdo titles like Cowboy Kid and Swordmaster. Of course, in order to unlock this awesome NES pricing knowledge, you'd have to reach the level of eBay wizardry achieved only by myself and a select few other plastic hoarders. Don't despair, however. We are hosting a seminar next week on how to reach this unbelievable elevation. Simply bring 2 friends and a money order for $50 to the Cobb County Civic Center, and we will show you how!